Hey viewers, and welcome back to Let's Play Shadowrun Dragonfall, the Director's Cut. One thing I did just notice actually is we have a lot of karma to spend. We have 11 points, which is a lot at a low level. So I've already got quite a few of these here. I think I'm probably going to go for that other etiquette. Let's go corporate. No gang was coming up a lot. Oh, I don't know. Kind of regret taking security now as my first one, honestly. So 7 more karma. Enemy HP visible, that's useful. So let's see. Let's upgrade ranged component. There we go. Ranged combat with the main component. So we have some more options for upgrading later on. Actually, you know, I should probably put a point or two into pistols. At least that 1 point. Auto reload is pretty useful. Just keep shooting. I think that's good enough for now. Although throwing a grenade could help too. Grenade use reduced to 1 AP, that's pretty useful. Let's just save it for now. 4 karma left. Alright, Paul. Let's talk about those discs we found on the corpse of Green Winters. Amsel's expression is hotter than you've seen it before. When he speaks, his voice is grim. Iger has told me of Green Winter's death. She said that he died in the same manner that Monica did. It wasn't a pretty sight. Amsel nods gravely. I know that you and Iger have had your differences. I will tell you that she was badly shaken by the sight of Winter's body. She also mentioned that you found something in Winter's safe, a package full of very old discs. May I see them? Hand over the discs. Of course. Good God. Gingerly, Amsel lifts a disc from the bundle and holds it up to the light. Slowly, he begins to turn it in his hand, causing rainbow patterns to shimmer across its surface. I haven't seen one of these since I was a boy. This is a DVD-RW, a data storage medium from the mid-2000s. I'm amazed that Winters was able to find a device that could play it. Do you know how we can read these things? He puts down the DVD in his hands and quickly inspects the others. The first disc that I looked at might be readable. The others are damaged, some severely so. I have my doubts about them. For now, let's concentrate on the undamaged disc. There is a little shop outside, the Data Haven. Talk to the proprietor, Malit Hollier. She might be able to help. Tell her to put the cost of the device on my account. I'm on it. Alright. So now that I've talked to everybody in the crews as of the last video, we can get on with the story. Get that drone fixed? These things they take time. I am making progress though. Give me a little more. Alright. Looking for something that can play back a DVD-RW. Really, that is old tech. Very old, in fact. Just a moment, I will go look. She turns to rummage through a bin of obsolete components in the back of her stall. Ah, yes, here we are. The dwarf wrestles a mid-sized flat-screen display out of the bin. This display has enough old hookups to connect to a DVD player. RCA, you know, vintage. The player itself, though, this I do not have. You may wish to try your luck down at the junkyard. There's a scavenger there, a primitive man with a crude disposition. If anyone here in the Cruise Bazaar can help you find your DVD player, he can. But he will almost certainly attempt to overcharge you for it. She takes a deep breath and smiles up at you. But you aren't here for gossip. Shall we conclude our business? I could give you the display for, say, 200 million? Paul Amsel said to charge it to his account. Ah, very well. I will have it packaged up and delivered to Herr Amsel right away. Best of luck finding your DVD raider. I wish you well. Junkyard. Junkyard, here we are. Shrotty. A stout old man looks up from whatever old tech he's tinkering with to squint at you through thick, old-fashioned glasses. He pushes them up with an oil-stained finger as he straightens up to nod at you. He speaks with a gruff but well-meaning tone, heavily accented with German tonality. Guten Tag, what can I do for you? Malite tells me that you're the man to speak to about DVDs. That little shrew sent you my way, huh? Schrody's smile broadens. Well, wonders never cease. Well, introductions are in order, I suppose. Shoddy Bookman, at your service. The old man raises a grimy hand in salute. Need something salvaged? Some more components? Willect? I'm indeed your man. Wonderful. How about that DVD player? Let's see. I think I got something that'll work for you. Shoddy rummages through the junk heaped on the table behind him. A few seconds later, he snatches a battered plastic lozenge shape from the pile. Ah, here we go. An old Korean player that I dug up last week. 2010 model. A real beauty. Shorty's smile broadens and he gives you a conspiratorial wink. I fixed her up and got her running, but without any discs to read. I've mostly been using her as a paperweight. Sounds like what I'm looking for. How much do you want for it? Shorty glances back at the DVD player, a rueful expression on his face. Well, I admit, I'm a little loath to part with her. There are plenty of folks out there who'd really appreciate an older player such as this, and I don't know what your intentions are for it. I suppose, given the time and trouble I took putting her back together, I'd be willing to part with her for, say, Shorty's eyes dart over your gear, a calculated expression on his face. About 500 million, so you can threaten him. You can hand over your cred stick, or you can say I'm short on cash. Could I offer you something in trade? The old man pauses for a moment, considering. I'll tell you what. A few months ago, I had call it a difference of opinion with that Burakazi fellow from the soy calf shop. He hasn't let me into his establishment since, and I'd sell my mother for a decent cup of coffee. You get me a cup of Turkish coffee, the real stuff, not that fake junk, and I'll give you the DVD player. Sound like a deal? Turkish coffee. As it happens, I have a mug right here. Ah, thank you. Shorty gratefully accepts the coffee, then snaps the lid back and inhales deeply, wiggling his mustache as he processes the scent. Yeah, that's the real stuff, all right. Shorty gingerly picks up the ancient device from the table and presses it into your hands. The plastic is scuffed and worn, and it rattles a bit when you move it. Give her some good use, okay? Okay, if that thing even works. Guess we're gonna find out. Nope, no one's got anything to say except Amsel, so that makes it simple. It seems that Amsel has assembled the team in your absence. They stand in a group around the old display that you had Mallet deliver. On their faces you can see excitement and apprehension, curiosity and dread. Renairen, have you procured a DVD reader? Hand Amsel the DVD player. I have, it's right here. Good, this should only take me a moment. Amsel disappears behind the ancient display. After a few minutes of fiddling with its battered inputs, he reappears, a satisfied look on his face. Everything appears to be functional. The disc should be ready to play. Well, don't keep us in suspense. Start the damn thing already. Renairen went to the trouble of fetching everything. Let him do the honors. Amsel steps back, clearing a path for you to access the antique machine. A soft whirring sound fills the air as the ancient DVD player spins the disc up to speed. The scratched LCD display comes to life, and a menu fills the screen. Track 1. The screen goes black, and a cheerful digital chiming sound spills out of the display's speakers. A crackle of static fills the air, coupled with a shrill electronic whine. After a few moments, the display goes live, and a disheveled-looking man appears on the screen. His eyes glitter with excitement. The timestamp on the screen is 2034-09-15. Adrian Volclair. Hermie, I think we've found her. After all this time. Furschwing, I knew that she wasn't dead. His speech is jittery. You can hear the urgency in his voice. She survived the Dragonfall, just as I've always said. I knew it, and I was right. The screen explodes into static, and electronic whine in the background sharpens into a needle-like pulse of high-pitched sound. Somewhere in the background, Dante lets out a low whimper. The screen clears, and the excited face is closer to the screen than it was before. The words spill out of him in a breathless tide. Taking a team into the SOX to retrieve her. The radiation be damned. We will take appropriate precautions, of course, but we must go. Hermie, I think the body may have been nearby as well. Somehow, it... She has survived for all of this time. The screen explodes into static again, then clears. The figure flickers across the screen. May not be back for some time. Look after Mom, okay? I worry about her. And Hermie, stay safe out there. I know that things are heating up in Berlin, and I know you. Student protests, civil uprising. You'll be in the middle of it, I'm sure. Just stay safe, all right? And I'll do my best to do the same. I don't know what's going to happen when I step into the SOX, but I do know one thing. If the Fire Wing is still a danger, I will put an end to her, once and for all. The display goes black, and the background whine fades away. A moment later, you find yourself deposited back at the menu screen. Track 2. The screen goes black again. Then a figure appears on the screen. Your late client, Green Winters. His elbow is planted on the table that he's seated at, and his chin rests on his palm. The other hand is wrapped around a bottle of cheap whiskey. The timestamp on the video reads 2053-12-25. Merry Christmas. Found the message Adrian left me all those years ago. Got it cleaned up as best I could. Strange hearing his voice again. He pauses to take a long pull on the bottle. It's good to hear him, even if he did insist on calling me Hermie. Dr. Adrian Vauclair, the hero of the people, the Dragon Slayer, my brother. He grimaces and rubs his eyes. Hard to believe it's almost been 20 years. Alright, so I'm going to start recording these DVDs again. For me, for Adrian, for whoever might end up watching them. Every time I do this, it winds up feeling like a waste of time. But I keep doing it anyhow, on the off chance that I'll find something important. If I stumble into the clue that leads me to my brother, I know I'm going to want it on film. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, after all. No sense in quitting now. Christ. 20 years. All this time, and still no leads. Even with all of my contacts and my resources. He takes another long swallow of cheap liquor. Even with my legendary bullheadedness, I've made no progress at all. Haven't turned up a single goddamn thing. Want to hear something funny? The closest I've gotten to a clue was a rumor. Apparently, a team emerged from the SOX a while back. Nobody's clear on the date, but, and get this, he leans into the camera and gives a conspiratorial whisper. Wink, supposedly they vanished without a trace. He upends the bottle, drains it, slams it back down on the table. His eyes are rimmed with red. Not much of a rumor, considering I already know that you're gone, big brother. I live with that every day. Abruptly, Winters leans forward and reaches for something off-screen. The display goes black. A few seconds later, the main menu returns. Track 3. There's a grinding sound from the DVD tray, and Green Winter's image appears on the screen. There's an eager look on his face. The timestamp on the video reads 2054-10-12. Stumbled upon this archival footage of Furschwing's original attack, months before the Dragonfall. Easy to forget how devastating it was. Adrian saved a lot of people by bringing her down. I've got the footage all queued up to play. Starting it now. Additional comments to follow. The slow whine of the DVD player shifts to a high-pitched whine. A distorted, wavering image blooms into being on the screen. A timestamp in the upper right corner of the screen marks the date. July 6th, 2012. It's difficult to make out what you're seeing at first. The scene is dark and smoky, and the telltale flashes of emergency vehicle lights flicker on the periphery of the screen. The camera pushes in, and you can make out two figures standing in a ruined landscape. All at once, the sound cuts in. A reporter. Again, for those of you just joining us, we are coming to you live from Stolzberg. A few hours ago, the Dragon Furschwing launched an unprovoked attack on the sleepy Harz mountain town. And you can see the results behind me. Fire, ashes, and blood. We are joined tonight by a survivor of this latest and most horrifying attack. The reporter turns to face a pale man standing behind him. Sir, I understand that you've been through a terrible ordeal. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us tonight. Survivor. The camera switches to focus to a middle-aged man with a haunted look in his eye. He stammers out a reply. Yes, of course. If you could, sir, could you please tell the people at home about your experience of the attack? It was horrible. Just pure chaos. So many people are dead. People I knew. Roasted alive or trampled to death trying to escape. My own house was burned to the ground during the attack. My family. We have nothing now. You made it through the attack, though? Your wife, your kids? Yeah, we all made it. Thank God. We rode out the attack in a small shelter. Me, my wife, and our 2 daughters. The shelter had protected us, but the heat was just unbearable. We couldn't have stayed in there much longer than we did. How long will you hold up in there? 3, maybe 4 hours, I don't know. We just stayed inside until the heat died down and the screaming stopped. And what happened after that? When it was over, you know, when the air cooled down. The reporter nods and the man continues. We stepped outside. There was nothing left, just smoldering wreckage and this dense cloud of black, oily smoke, and the stench in the air. God, that smell. It smelled like roasting meat. There's a long pause. From the tortured look on his face, you can tell that the man is struggling to decide whether or not to continue speaking. Eventually, he does. My girls, they found what was left of the nanny outside. Her body, what was left of it, was slumped against the shelter door. I keep telling myself that I couldn't hear her pounding to get in, but that isn't true. I could. I just couldn't bring myself to open that door. I couldn't risk my family like that. Not for her. Not for anyone. Thank you, sir, for taking the time to speak with us. Yeah. You heard about it here. An absolutely chilling account of tonight's attack. Again, the town of Stolberg has been reduced to ash, another victim of the fire wing. Stay with us for more up-to-the-minute reporting on Furschwing's reign of terror. Greenwinter's face reappears on the screen. Okay, it's time for a new approach. Adrian's a complete dead end. That much is pretty clear by now. So I'm going to do some digging on Furschwing instead. Let's see where this goes. The screen abruptly goes black as the video cuts off. A few moments later, you find yourself returned to the menu screen. Track 4. The DVD player ramps up to speed, filling the air with a shrill, whining sound. Greenwinter's image appears on the screen. The timestamp on the video reads 2054-1031. Well, that was a bust. Little progress on Furschwing either. He shakes his head. I don't know, it's weird. The information is there, it's just wrong somehow. It's too well laid out, too simple. Real life is messy. This feels just a little too neat. That's not the only thing that's nagging at me. I'm getting that tingly feeling all up and down the back of my neck again. Feels like I'm being tracked. I'm no Matrix hotshot like Clockwork or Schaefer, but I'm good enough to know when someone's on my scent. Gotta install some new security measures. Can't be too careful. Winter's image disappears. The display goes black. A few seconds later, the main menu. Track 5. The display goes blank for a moment, then the face of Green Winters winks onto the screen. He's seated at a computer. Off to his left, an enormous monitor fills the screen. His voice carries an edge of panic. The timestamp on the video reads 2054-1109. Christ, I'm getting too close to something. There's a trail of bodies, and there have been disappearances. Gearbox, Marcian, Peregrine. They've all just disappeared within the past few years. Gearbox just went AWOL yesterday. They're all making the same sorts of inquiries about the fire ring that I've been. There are ghost stories spreading around the Decker community. Stories about Deckers disappearing, and then showing up again later, but wrong, somehow. Scary stuff. And I'm starting to think that it's true. Blitz leads in to whisper to you. I know the stories he's talking about, Chief. Never really put much stock on them. Not until now. Could these rumors be related to what's happening here? Am I paranoid? He pauses for a moment, as if seriously considering the question. Then he shakes his head and slams his fist on the table. No. I don't think so. Something big is happening here, and I'm right in the middle of it. Iger cuts in. That's a bit of a leap. One other thing. Tolstoy told me a story about a kill team that might be related to all of this. Apparently, a Decker named Hellbore posted a theory about Furschwing on the Shadowrun BBS about 5 years ago. About an hour later, a mil-spec team showed up in her meat space and cooked her entire apartment, with her in it. If what Tolstoy told me was true, Hellbore live posted the event. She described her killer, this great big orc with skin grafts. Then the whole thread disappeared, gone without a trace. Leap, Iger love? Sounds like he's on the right track to me. Iger holds her silence but concedes the point with a small nod. On the screen, Winters pauses. He looks like he's working up to something. Finally, he speaks. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This has got to be about Furschwing. All of it. Adrian was right about her. She's still alive, and she's out of the SOX. She's covering her tracks, working the shadows, preparing to rise again. And that means I have to find you, Adrian, for everyone's sake. Thankfully, I've got a lead. For the first time in 2 decades, I've got a solid, goddamned lead. I backtraced all of the Matrix nodes that Hellbore was looking into, back before she got cooked. Whoever's been purging the Matrix didn't think about that, and I found she turned up. Winters stabs a few keys on his keyboard, and an image expands to fill the screen of his monitor. A satellite photo of a rural landscape, annotated with GPS data. A set of map coordinates. So now, I've got a target. A place to start digging. The Harfeld Manor, conveniently located on an isolated stretch of countryside, miles away from prying eyes. Matrix records indicate that some sort of data vault exists behind the estate, so that's what I need to get into. And this is where we came in, says Glory. As if on cue, a familiar image winks onto the monitor to Winter's left. Monica. I think I'm going to tap Schaefer for this job. She's got the skills to bypass whatever security they're running out there, and she's gullible enough to take the job in the first place. I'll feed her some lines about Flux State security, and she'll eat up with a spoon. I warned her. Amsel's voice is choked with rage. I warned her. On the display, Winter's mouth parts into a broad grin. Time to put plans into motion. But this time tomorrow night, I should have the information that I need. And the off chance that Schaefer gets taken out, well, that'll tell me something too. Can't make an omelette and all that. Until then. Winter's image disappears. The display goes black. Main menu, track 6. When you play the 6th track, a small video window appears. You recognize the scene in the window. You're looking at the tattered drapes and nicotine-stained wallpaper of Winter's hotel room at Das Kesselhaus. The timestamp on the video reads 2054-11-10. There's a blur of motion and the haggard form of Green Winters lumbers into frame. Suspiciously confirmed. Schaefer dead. Christ. Winters reaches a shaking hand off camera. A moment later it returns, clutching a cheap plastic drinking glass. He gulps something down, wipes his mouth with the back of his hand, and takes a deep breath. Okay. Back up. Slow down. Start from the beginning. Winters closes his eyes and makes a visible effort to calm himself. When he speaks again, his voice is steady. Got the call from my contact in the cruise bazaar. Schaefer killed on the estate run. Matrix security at the estate cooked her brain. Considering Schaefer's skill and experience, on-site ice must have been extreme, even by Berlin standards. Security of that kind costs money. Real money. Given the evidence uncovered so far, corporate involvement unlikely. The connection to Firewing is too strong. I almost said her name in German, or what passes for my terrible German. So, let's come right out and say it. The dragon is what we're dealing with here, and the smart money says that she's coming for me next. Well, I won't go down without a fight. I've still got my contacts, still got my connections, and the Flux State can be a hell of a weapon for the man who knows how to manipulate it. Winters takes another long pull from his glass, grimaces and swallows. Time for me to make my play. Ghost stories or no, missing Deckers or no, I've got to jack into the Matrix and start pulling strings. The countermeasures that I installed earlier should be more than enough to keep me safe for the 20 minutes I'll be in there. Winters drains the rest of her glass, then tosses it back over her shoulder. A moment later, you hear the dull, clattering sound of hard plastic on linoleum. Schaefer's death was tragic. She was a staunch supporter of the F state. But still, all things considered. Winters fishes for something off-screen. A moment later, his hand reappears, clutching a data jack cable. Better her than me. He plugs the cable into his head, and the screen cuts to static. Eject the DVD. As your finger nears the eject button, a black screen cuts in over the static. A moment later, Green Winter's haggard face appears. If you're watching this, then I guess they caught up to me. They will be after you too now. Blitz whispers into your ear, more harshly this time. What the hell is this? Why didn't you warn me about this before I came here? We didn't know. Not exactly. Not exactly? I didn't come here to be hunted by a dragon. I'm not even a part of this. You are now, whether you like it or not. So quiet down and stop bothering him. Whoever you are, whatever you think you're after, you need to find Dr. Adrian Vauclair. Not because he's my brother. Because if Firschwing is rising again, he's the only one who can stop her. You've seen what happens to people who get close to this. I'm dead, and dozens of others have died. You'll be next, unless you can find Adrian. The screen cuts to static. The message is over. The DVD tray slides out of the reader. Quick moment to viewers. Just need to take a quick drink. Talk to Paul. The room goes quiet as everyone struggles to process what you've just seen on the DVD. Finally, Dietrich breaks the silence. The dragon. Son of a bitch. Green Winter set us up against a dragon. The Firewing. Amsel's voice is thick with dread. She lives. I'm really starting to regret the fact I didn't just stay at the hotel. Iger ignores him. Wait a second. We don't know for certain. Dietrich lays a hand on Iger's shoulder. The evidence seems pretty convincing to me, love. I'll even take it a step further. I think that secret facility that we stumbled into was her lair. The room falls silent. Iger and Glory exchange glances. After a moment, Dietrich continues. Just think about it. The Decker that Winters got those coordinates from was posting about Furschwing. Then she was killed by that same orcish bastard that attacked us after Monica died. That's a direct link between the dragon, the scarred orc, and the Harfeld Manor. And then Winters was killed by the same thing that killed Monica. Exactly. My gut tells me that the dragon is down there, Renairen, someplace far below the surface. I think that we knocked on the door to her lair without even knowing it. And I think that, whatever we've seen, that dragon will do whatever it takes to keep us quiet about it. Okay. Going on the assumption that there is a dragon and that she will come after us, what do we propose we do about it? Let's see here. Anyone have any suggestions? What we need is information. I think that we should pick up where Winters left off. We need to find Vauclair. Thanks, Glory. And how are you planning to do that? Winters spent 20 years searching for him, and it got him nowhere. With the help of an information broker. Let me guess, back to the coffee shop? For this? No. Well, Herr Budagazi is very capable. A task of this magnitude is beyond him. We need to make contact with the premier information broker in Berlin. We need to talk to Alice. Blitz scoffs at Amsel. Alice, best of luck, and I hope that you're rich. Amsel raises an eyebrow. For this? Rich enough? Even if only just. Who's this Alice? Iger asks. A more prominent figure in Berlin's shadow community. Ex-Shockwell Reader. She provides information retrieval services for the F-State. Amsel turns to the computer console behind him and runs his machine fingers over virtual keyboard. The machine begins to hum. If Winters was right, if Vauclair is still alive, she can help us find him. The console spits out a stick of black plastic. Amsel plucks it from his computer and hands it to you. Here, your key to speak with Alice. Cred stick? Amsel nods. An encoded cred stick, yes. 10,000 Nuyen. Alice will not show her face for less. This represents the last of my personal savings, Renairen. Make this meeting count. 10,000 Nuyen, just to talk to her. Amsel nods. Her standard fee. Alice is in a position to ask it, and we're in no position to argue. Just like I said. Why does anyone listen to me? Oh, Blitz. Where do I need to go? Take the U-Bahn to the Altstadt Spandau. There you will find a connecting tube that the locals refer to as the rabbit hole. You will find a method of contacting Alice there. Don't call that in front of her, though. Word on the street is that she hates it. Please hurry. While you're out, I will work on acquiring new contracts for the team. Alice is the best there is at what she does, and her services carry a price tag to match. Alright, well, time to take the U-Bahn. Sorry, Dante, you can't really come. Going solo, huh? That's kind of risky. Let's see here. Oh, random thing over here. Hyper. Yay, drugs. Arcade machine. The only active console in this derelict span of U-Bahn platform is an old video arcade machine. The CRT monitor set into the machine's cabinet glows invitingly. Cheerful, pixelated graphics swirl and dance on the screen. Let's investigate the machine. At the base of the controller panel, you find a cleverly hidden input port. The port is shrouded in black plastic, and it appears to be the approximate shape of a typical cred stick. Insert Amsel's down payment into the machine. Internal motors grip the cred stick and pull it into the machine. It disappears into the port, and the screen goes black. Moments later, a video image fills the screen. The picture is dark and grainy, a far cry from the bright, colorful sprites that previously inhabited the display. On the screen is a dimly lit office. The place looks like it was pulled straight from an old detective movie, from the Venetian blinds on the windows to the great swaths of shadow that paint the walls black. Center stage, sitting behind a large mahogany desk, is the silhouette of an impressive-looking woman in a charcoal gray suit. The tip of a cigarette glows cherry red in the shadows. She leans forward into the light, and you catch your first glimpse of Alice. Her face is all hard planes and sculpted angles, with high cheekbones and almond eyes. Her lips are painted a frigid blue, but the look in her eyes is even colder. A head of lustrous black hair is interspersed with flowing streams of cyan light. Alice exhales a plume of smoke, and then tips her cigarette into a nearby ashtray. She fixes her eyes on you, and her lips curl into a humorless smile. We're on your dime, friend. Tell me what you're looking for. I need you to find someone for me. Dr. Adrian Vauclair. She raises an eyebrow. The Dragon Slayer. Interesting. He's been missing for a long time. Yes, he has. The question is, can you find him? She looks you in the eye and the smile disappears. Her voice is all business. If he's out there somewhere, I'll find him for you. He could be living under an assumed name in California Free State, and I'll still track him down. And if he's not alive, I'll tell you where you can find his corpse. See, this always makes you want to take decking 4 because it's interesting that he can try and figure out who she is. Alright, I'm satisfied. Let's talk about the job. Alice steeples her fingers. Alright, here's how this is going to work. When you give me the go-ahead, I'm going to start gathering information for you. Once I've finished, you're going to bring me a cred stick encoded with the encryption key that I'll provide you. That cred stick will have 50,000 nuyen on it. When I grate my cred stick, you get your information. This is the deal. Take it or leave it. Well, I don't want to piss her off, so alright, you got a deal. Okay, but remember, you say go, and I go. From that point on, you're on the hook to pay me back my fee. No turning back, no refunds. Are we square on this? The hell on it. I'll pay whatever you want. Just get me Vauclair. Good. I'll be in touch. The screen goes black. Moments later, the machine reboots. The colorful sprites that you saw when you first approached the arcade cabinet return. There's nothing more to see here. Alice is gone. Well, things are in motion, viewers. Things are in motion. Hopefully, Amsel can get us a couple jobs. Preferably on ones with good paydays. You know, Blitz has got people have things to say too. Blitz, what's up? Well, I can ask some questions from him again, so same approach as last time. You're a member of a drug gang. Why should I trust you? Why wouldn't you, Chief? I mean, just look at me. He does his best to give you a winning smile. I'm a trustworthy guy. Prove it. Tell me about the gang that you ran with. Well, I don't know all that much, Chief. I wasn't a member of gang leadership or anything. Not really sure why you care either. Doesn't matter why I care. Just tell me. He rolls his eyes. That's what it'll take for you to trust me, fine. Anything for you, Chief. Well, where to begin? When I first arrived at Drogenkeep, I spent some time taking in the lay of the land. The Schwarzherzen were still a pretty small gang, strictly street level, but I could tell they were going places. I did a little pro bono for their leader, a fat little dwarf named Dieter. Soon enough, I was part of the family. For a drug gang, the Schwarzherzen were decent enough folks. I made a lot of money with them, helped them take the hotel in the first place. We had a lot of good years then. Then Dieter was killed in a firefight, and our happy little family fell apart. Was that when the hotel got attacked? Blitz takes a deep breath, shifts his weight from one foot to another. Not exactly. The Schwarzherzen maintained their hold on Drogenkeep, but the change of leadership was bad news for me. After Dieter kicked the bucket, his second-in-command took over. She was a real piece of work, called herself Leonie Luster. She had a vicious streak a mile long, and she was none too fond of me. Can't imagine why not. I know, what's not to like? Maybe she felt threatened by my friendship with Dieter, back before he ate that bullet. Maybe she was just jealous of my rugged good looks. Who the hell knows? The point is, she went after me. Vigorously. Within 24 hours of Dieter's death, I had a price on my head. And then the hotel got taken over. So that's what you need to know about the Schwarzherzen. They were a great gang. A powerful gang. Helped to make them that way. Then they had a management turnover, and everything went to hell. Blitz rocks back on his feet, hands in his pockets. That's it. End of story. Anything else you want to talk about? Intelligence 2. Wait a second. That isn't it. There's some pretty big holes in that story. Come on, Chief. This is all ancient history. Wouldn't you rather talk about the future? The runs we're going to go on, all the money we're going to make? Blitz, tell me what happened between Luster putting the price on your head and the hotel getting attacked. All right, Chief. Fine. That's what it'll take to make you happy. So I was in a bind, right? The members of the Schwarzherzen who were loyal to Luster were all out for my blood, and none of the others were going to stick their necks out for me. The advantage of being a ganger is protection in numbers. When those numbers turn against you, you got to get creative if you want to stay alive. What did you do? Blitz taps the plastic of his data jack. What I had to. Luster had declared war on me, so I retaliated, and I won. All without ever firing a shot. That's not an answer. Blitz sighs. You won't be satisfied until I spell it out, will you? Okay, fine. I hacked into the Lusser's computer and sent all of her information to a rival organization. Remember Frank from the hotel? He was my liaison. They hit the Schwartz and Hertz and they hit him hard. Then they took down the hotel, and then they took me. I'll admit that the plan backfired a little. You did what you had to do. In your place, I'd probably have done the same. Blitz lets out a sigh of relief. Thanks, Chief. I knew you'd understand. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to get back to what I was doing. Gives you a lazy salute. We'll talk later, I'm sure. And Chief, I'm glad to be a member of the team. Of course, he stabbed his team in the back. And, well, that's what Ren's backstory in this is, right? A team member stabbed him in the back, but Ren's teammate did it to save his family. Blitz did it because everyone turned on him, so I think Ren would understand. Dietrich's got nothing to say. Tiger, nothing to say. Gonna guess Gloria's got nothing to say. Alright, time to talk to Amsel, tell him how much money we have to raise. Can't wait for his jaw to drop. 50,000. Renairen, did you make contact with Alice? Yes, I did. She accepted your payment and I ordered the search for the information we need. Very good. I can't imagine this will be cheap. What was Alice's stated price? You're right on that count. 50,000. He shrugs. It is about as I expected. Thankfully, we are prepared for this. I have established contact with a number of new clients. You can find information on the jobs logged on your mission computer. One job's file is on there already. While you're working to earn Alice's fee, I will continue to dig for clues about Futterschwing. If she is, in fact, roosting under the Hartfield Manor, then there must be some evidence to support that fact. A dragon is a large thing to hide, after all. Be careful, Paul. Remember what happened to Monica. I will never forget. Don't worry, Renairen. I'm going to conduct my investigation the old-fashioned ways, through contacts and deduction and careful observation. I will not jack into the Matrix until this entire sorry episode is finished. It's probably wise. Speaking of doing things the old-fashioned way, Malit is working to recover information off of those other DVDs. It's a painstaking process, and it will not be quick, but she is optimistic that she will be successful in time. Finally, I have been checking up on our friend, the orc with the skin grafts. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I'll keep you appraised as the situation develops. Sounds good, Paul. I'll go check on those other jobs. One last thing, Renairen. Samuel Beckenbauer wanted to pass a message on to you. Do you know him? The orc who runs the shelter across the way. Yeah, we've met. Ah, well, he has a job for you, but he wouldn't discuss it with me. He did promise it would be worth your time. Keep that in mind. Let's see what the jobs we've got here are. Actually, let's check Beckenbauer first, see what he's got to offer. I just spent 10,000 Nuyen that wasn't even mine. Wouldn't mind making a little bit of money. Hello again, mein Freund. What can I do for you? Heard you want to talk about a job. Yes, I do. Thank you for coming so promptly. He takes a deep breath, slowly releases it, and looks you in the eye. Tell me, what do you know about the Humanist Poly Club? They're an anti-metahuman hate group. He nods. The largest and most well-funded of its kind. The instigators of the Night of Rage, and the enemy of everything I stand for. Night of Rage. A worldwide race riot that took place in February of 2039. Thousands of innocent metahumans were attacked, beaten, and killed. Women and children were corralled into warehouses for protection and then burned alive while the structures were put to the torch. This is what Humanist stands for. This is the agenda that its leaders will strive to advance. They will not be satisfied until all metahumans, everywhere, are driven from the face of the earth. Tell me what this has to do with me. He nods. Yesterday, I overheard one of my assistants talking on his comm. He was yelling, clearly agitated. I questioned him and he confided in me. What he told me made my blood run cold. Let me guess where this is going. Humanist is plotting something, an attack of some kind. He nods. Yes, I believe so. The Berlin chapter of Humanist has arranged to acquire a large shipment of an extremely hazardous chemical. Their leader, Volker Stahl, is a vicious ideologue. It goes without saying that whatever he intends to do, it won't be good for us. I want you to infiltrate the smuggling operation that is delivering the shipment. Once you arrive at the Humanist compound, you'll find out what they're planning to do with the chemical and put a stop to it. Wouldn't it be easier to just hijack the shipment? Why allow it to get to the Humanist compound at all? He shakes his head. No. Stopping the shipment would not stop humanus. They would nearly acquire him another. For a pack of snarling racists, they are extremely well funded. Alright, let's talk compensation. What does this gig pay? More etiquette I don't have. I've contacted sister organizations across Berlin and taken up a collection. Between us, we have raised 22,000 Nuyen as a payment. I trust that will be sufficient? It'll do. Count me in. He nods. Excellent. I am relieved. I will make the arrangements for your meeting with the smugglers. Their leader is an elf who calls himself Maxim. Take the U-Bahn to Shatternest and you will find him waiting there. Best of luck to you, Renairen, and good hunting. Know that you're doing a good thing for the metahumans of Berlin. Your efforts will not go unrecognized. We'll see about that. Anyone else got anything new to say around here? Simi, what's up? Yes? Okay, no, so I guess we're still good on dialogue here. Lucky Strike. I wonder if she'll join my team or if she's just an NPC. Yeah, still just wants to chat, so... guess we got ourselves an op, viewers. Time to go get paid. First things first, though. Well, those lead to the same place. Kind of drop some of that hard-earned money. There we are. The better gear. Let's take out Hyper. Take out the Cram. Oof, I was worried for a second there. Hey, I got a new coat. Maintenance worker. Hey, buddy, sorry to bother you, but I could use some help over here. You want to make a little extra scratch? Shouldn't take long. Sure, what's the problem? Well, me and my buddy Victor got called in from the next Kia's over. Something's wrong with the sewers around here. Your local plumbers and mechanics are all useless. Vic and I talked to him, tried to get him to give us the maintenance schedule for your sewer pumps. They just scratched their heads at us, said that the machinery down there just took care of itself. My best guess is that your pumps are shut down. Happens from time to time without proper maintenance. When the pumps shut down, the waste starts piling up, and it's causing some pretty major overflow problems downstream. Doesn't sound like something I'd be good at. Just hear me out, guy. This has to get done, but I think that something got Victor. That's why I need your help. Alright, keep talking. The problem is probably something basic. A clog needs to be clear, something like that. Restarting the pump should take care of it, but no goddamn way am I going in there. If you'll do the job for me, I'll give you the new end we were paid for it. I don't need it, you can have it all. I can live without the money, but someone's got to fix those pumps before I can leave. How much new end are we talking about here? 500. For a job this quick, it's good money. Fine, I'll do it. You're a lifesaver, chummer. If you find Victor, well, if he's alive down there, tell him I'm sorry. Okay, well, we have a new optional mission. Any other optional things going along here? Doesn't look like it. So I'm thankful now we're going to take a break there, and then we'll hit up these sewers. Yay, sewer mission. And yeah, viewers, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Let's Play Shadowrun Dragonfall, the Director's Cut. See you then.